you for joining us for our business meeting. It is October 3rd, 2023. The time is 2 p.m. I'm calling this meeting to order. In attendance are Commissioners Matari and Duncan. Bill, are you on the line?
I'm on the line.
All right, and Commissioner Brooks is via telephone. Would you please join me in a moment of silence? All right. And Grant, would you lead us in the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, changes to the agenda. I have items 31, 33, and 34 being pulled. Is there any other changes? Are there any other changes?
No.
Okay. I would take a motion for meeting minutes.
I move that we approve the meeting minutes, items 1 through 7.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan,
Aye, motion carries. Consent calendar.
I move that we approve the consent calendar, items 8 through 16.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan,
Aye. And payables list.
I move that we approve the payables list, September 25 through September 29, 2023, in the amount of $568,728.84, plus jury panel payments in the amount of $2,983.04.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan,
Aye, motion carries. All right, item 18. Oh, yeah, we just did payables. All right, item 18, RFP opening. This is bid number 2023-SH1003. And this is for our Kootenai County Public Safety Building, jail pod build out specifically, and our resource management office. Caitlin?
Caitlin Smith for the record. Responses have been submitted to this RFQ for the design of the build-out, and the name of each respondent shall be read into the record and all responses acknowledged. These responses shall be rated by an evaluation team, and the most qualified respondent will then be selected to submit a cost proposal and negotiate a contract.
Okay, so we did have a discussion this morning on jail pods, and there's something that I believe the commissioners are going to consider, and maybe going with a general contractor process. So when the team gets together, then we'll need to have that discussion. So does that make sense, Caitlin? Okay. So we'll still acknowledge receipt from the two different architects and send them off to legal and RMO to be evaluated.
So you would just acknowledge the names that have, we've received a bid from Lombard Conrad Architects and Design West Architects.
Okay.
And are we opening these or?
No, nope. So we're just acknowledging the receipt. So I will second that.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan,
Aye. All right, item 18, work package 2, and this is the GMP amendment to agreement between Kootenai County and Bouten Construction for Justice Building expansion, and it's ARPA funded, and our Bouten Construction Company and RMO. Caitlin, are you going to introduce this, and then we may probably ask Craig to join you up front and answer any questions we might have.
All right, Caitlin Smith for the record. This item is the second guaranteed maximum price amendment between Kootenai County and Bouten Construction. This is for work package 2 of the Justice Building expansion. It includes building structure, detention doors, frames and hardware, detention glazing, elevators, mechanical and electrical. The contract sum is $8,453,544, and this is to be added to the Work Package 1 sum and to be funded from the American Rescue Plan Act dollars previously set aside for the Justice Building expansion.
Okay. So would you like Bouten to speak, or do you have questions?
Not at this point. I don't have anything that I'm really curious about.
Okay. And would you like to hear from Brandy in our meeting about fund balance, or what would you like to do with Work Package 2?
Well, I think that, like what was discussed this morning, we have a lot of things that need to be looked at, and sadly, a very short period of time. And so I'm of the opinion that any decisions to be made are going to be made upon us compiling this information together quickly.
Okay.
And I don't think a 1 week delay on this would be the end of the world.
Okay. So I do have information on the fund balance. So Brandy said that she would be willing to walk us through that, and maybe if that allays some of your concerns, and then we can hear from Craig about what a 1 week delay would mean. Okay?
Brandy Falcon for the record. Okay, so you wanted me to walk through where we're at with fund balance. So I gave each of the commissioners this spreadsheet. I also emailed it to you guys now that I know Commissioner Brooks is on the phone. So with the total cost of 38.64, that leaves us with 10.4 million funding shortfall. I listed potential additional funding sources. I included Children's Village. We still don't know the status of that. If a subrecipient agreement, I don't think, has been signed yet. That would be up for the board to discuss with RMO. I also included the reallocation of the $200,000 from admin, although I think there has been talks that an HVAC project may come in over budget, so perhaps the board is wanting to use that $200,000 for that instead. I don't know. I've listed the money available in our restricted court facilities fund in Fund 11. $900,000 coming from the trial court administrators fund balance, and then pretty significantly, I've included the calculations to reduce our emergency funds from 2.5 months of reserves down to 2. So that would mean reducing Fund 10 from 7.5 million to 6 million, and Fund 15 from 12.8 million to 10.2 million. That would give us a little over 4 million in additional funding. That would mean we would have to pull 4 million from the master plan money in Fund 11. So that would get us to a fully funded number of 38.6 million. But if soft costs continue to increase from LCA and whatever else is included in that soft cost number, obviously that 38.6 is going to have to go up. That would leave us with 8.9 million in Fund 11 that could be utilized for the jail pods and for the remodeling of KC North. I've included the last number I had for the jail pods that was emailed out. It was 7.6 million. And then I just put a placeholder of 1.5 million for the KC North campus. I have no idea on the latest updates of those costs.
Sure.
So that's not quite enough left in Fund 11 for the jail pods and KC North. I do want you to keep in mind that that doesn't include any additional fund balance that we're going to build after we close the books in FY23. So, I mean, it's really up to the board what you feel comfortable with.
Sure.
Does that make sense, everything that I said?
It does to me. Bruce, do you have questions?
So how much? So we basically don't have enough money to complete this building as is, get the jail pods based upon an estimate that we don't know whether it's going to be accurate or not, and an estimate that we for the sheriff's office to move. Is that correct?
As of right now, no, and that's based on, you're correct, these estimates for the jail pods in KC North. I don't feel comfortable giving a number for how much fund balance we're going to build back into fund balance this fall. We won't know that number probably until January, February, right around the time Work Paper 3 or Work Package 3 is supposed to be presented.
Yeah.
So what is not considered in here is contingency that we still have. And I think Craig can speak a little bit to how the project's going right now and what a 1 week delay would mean. The KC North estimate is very high, and the Sheriff's Department's going to come back to us with some better numbers because they are going to do some of the work themselves, and there's projects in there that do not need to be done before they move in.
Yeah, well, again, this is all being done like on the fly. Up until this very moment, we've all been talking about finishing these 3 projects within our fund balance, up to this point. So right now, here we are, and we have to make decisions, spur of the moment, without any time to really look and dig deep into the numbers, to have some collaboration among the other elected officials, and for us to reflect on this a little bit. And that's been my concern from day one, as I've kept asking for this stuff. And here we are, and my biggest fear has occurred where we are now out of the plane, and we're trying to get back up to figure out how we can manage this process. And we don't have enough money.
Right. The problem is we have a lot of unknowns on costs right now. And so some things have been estimated high just to cover those costs. So as we get further down the road, we're going to get better numbers.
Well, yeah, and we've been saying that all along until I discovered that extra $3.5 million. And that's been my problem, is that we don't sit down, that it gets pushed before us to make a decision now, when we really haven't looked at this holistically. And I'm sorry, that's just been the issue. We don't have enough money for these 3 projects.
I definitely disagree, but I understand where you're coming from, and I understand you want to know better numbers than what we have. I'm also working with the treasurer's office because there's some other ways that that he has in mind to help us. I don't know if it's regarding the interest or the way things are paid out. I'm not sure exactly what he has in mind, but he and I are working.
He's expressed that too to me. And, the problem I see is that conversation should have been had in June, when we knew that this building was going to be $38 million. But we haven't had these conversations. And so I am going to stick by my guns from what I said this morning, and until I see how we're going to navigate our way through this. Because the way it stands right now, we don't have enough money. There might be more money there, but we're speculating. And I don't want to speculate on multi-million-dollar decisions. I want to know.
Right, but the issue also becomes you could speculate on the jail pot estimate. Jail pot estimate could be $5 million, and then we'd have plenty of money. So where do you draw that line of, we have this building that's going up. To cancel the whole building is going to cost us millions of dollars. And guess what the building actually does? It actually increases our ability to get people out of the jail through the system faster. We have to share courtrooms right now. This is 5 years overdue. So this actually helps the jail overcrowding problem in getting this. And we're up for another I can't remember now if it's a magistrate or just, I believe it's a district judge. We're going to get another one of those. So the project has to happen. I do understand your concern about having money for all these things, but I'm really confident that it is going to be possible. And then Kootenai North also, that move is not crucial. I mean, we have to have a jail. We have to have courts, but they don't have to move. So that one can be parsed out in sections until we can get them fully moved in. But once again,
Yeah, well, like I mentioned, my confidence in the process, the system is eroded. That it's broken. That's why we are at this point right now. And, from a management perspective, it shouldn't be this way. We should not be having these discussions saying all along, it's not a problem, it's not a problem. It's not a problem for us to be here in October saying, well, our budget director says there's not enough money to do everything based upon the projections. And might I remind you that at this point, I have no confidence in numbers, because the very first set of numbers were for $22 million, and 6 months later, during a presentation, the building was north of $30 million.
yes, because there's all kinds of outside influences that nobody could have even foreseen.
In 6 months?
Yes, absolutely. I was here.
That's a tough pill to swallow, but,
Okay.
you were there. And so I have an immense amount of reliance upon you and Commissioner Brooks for this process. But right now, I just heard for the first time, we don't have enough money to complete the jail pods, the move, and the building. It's the first time we've had this discussion.
All right. Well, once again, I told you in a week that we would have we can have a better discussion in a week.
And
but
I will be
this
happy
is-
to make a decision in a week when we can have a better discussion.
Okay. Craig, would you please let us know what this means if work package 2 is not approved today?
Yes, I can do that. And thank you for the comments. I appreciate the situation and the things that you're having to consider at a very fast pace. I totally appreciate that. And the other thing I'd say on that is the pace that you're moving and making decisions. This is helping you to keep the cost on the Justice Center as economical as possible. Delaying is not really helping us, but the good decisions and moving forward is helping us. And with that in mind, as we think about holding for a week, as I'm hearing the comments and what's coming to my mind, we're getting updated trade partner numbers next week on Tuesday. And we're going to meet the rest of that week to sort through the numbers, meet with the design team and make sure that they're totally in line with the scope. And we'd be prepared to meet and present those to you on the 17th. And I'd recommend we wait to approve work package 2 on the 17th with one caveat. And it's the critical path right now is that we release the structural steel for shop drawings, the reinforcing bar for shop drawings, concrete formwork for shop drawings. And what that means is we'd approve them so we have the shop drawing costs, not the actual material costs that we'd be going at risk with. And if we can release those, get that process going, then that would give us the next 2 weeks to help get additional information, give you more certainty on your other projects, and then make this decision on the 17th. So that's what I would recommend doing. So it's not really adding cost to the project, but it is putting you going at risk for more cost at the moment.
Well, we even broached the subject earlier today about getting rid of the top floor. I mean, at this point, every time we say yes, we're that much further into this project. And that's been my concern. And this board has we've had this information where at least it was known back in June that there were all these additional costs and there was plenty of opportunity for us to have these conversations. Your decisions about the construction, I understand, but the decisions about the money and the meaningful conversation, it just hasn't happened. And I think we need to have that, even if it's later this week. I mean, I will clear out my calendar to make sure that we go through these numbers and we talk about it and we make sure that, we have this money. And if we're not going to have this money, then, that needs to be on the record as to what we're going to do next and what that plan is. But I really felt that this information was available. It was difficult for me to get it when I asked for it last month. And when I saw how it was circulating around, it really I got lost on this one. My confidence in this I lost it. So, I realize this is where we are. I have tried meeting after meeting after meeting for us to get to these final numbers. And it kept saying, we got to say yes now. We got to say yes. It's going to have cost overruns. But it is a building that started off at $22 million. That is the bid to win and then manage for the profit.
Can you talk about that? What you saw, because you've been in construction how many years, and you've been on projects during, pre and post COVID and all the supply chains?
Yeah, so when we were selected as the general contractor construction manager, even in our presentation, we were saying this is not a 22, I think we were even told $24 million project, and we said it's not that. This is a $32 to $35 million job or scope of work. And as we've continued through the process, we're confirming that it's certainly in that number. And I think, I'm not sure how the budget was set, but I understand it was prior to 2020, and it hadn't really been adjusted through 2020, 21, or 22 when we were engaged. And then once we engaged and were able to do an estimate, and that's when we came and said, yeah, this is a 30-something million project. And where we're at to date after the two work packages, we're about $200,000 ahead in contingency, meaning we've picked up about $200,000 that it's in contingency for work package 3. So that number contains $1.35 million of contingency for work package 3, which is just giving us a little more confidence and assurance that we can come in on budget.
Yeah, and I understand, and the total numbers I've seen have gone up $300,000 in 10 days, so I don't know if that $200,000 savings is incorporated into those final numbers that were emailed to the commissioners yesterday, or if, or not. So, but it keeps going up, and that's my biggest fear. Yes, we're saving some money because we had some cushion built in for the estimates. But there's other things that keep going up. And so I don't see how just a few days for us to compile some numbers together and have a legitimate meeting where we talk about what we think we can do, where money might come from, and see if we're going to get these projects done, all of them, or where we're going to have to make the cuts. I mean, I just don't see how, at this point, a few extra days.
Well, that's what he said. He said that we'll have our meeting with you guys, 10 a.m. on Tuesday morning, if that works for you. And we'll schedule that, because that's our status update, so,
I was thinking the 17th.
yes,
We met which is 2 weeks from today.
yes, yes. So I don't know what I just said, but that's what I meant, 10
Okay.
a.m. on Tuesday, the 17th.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, so we can have that, but we'll have our fund balance talk before then.
Okay.
And then we'll have your better numbers then, and then we can go ahead with work package 2 then. So Dave, I think we still need a motion to allow them to go ahead with the items that Craig had mentioned that. Yes, so are you comfortable with that?
Sure.
Okay, so can you tell me again so I can write them down?
Yes. So it'd be approval to proceed with submittals and shop drawings for structural steel, reinforcing steel, and concrete formwork.
But I'm okay with the motion. As far as the actual, saying yes to more and more stuff, I'm not okay with that until we have this discussion.
Okay, so in order for us to delay work package 2 without costing more money, if we say okay to these things, still in the long run, even if the entire project is scrapped, this is still an acceptable risk. So I understand where you're at, but if we're going to balance this out, which I know we can get there in fund balance, I don't want to delay this project and cost more money.
If we end up going to getting rid of the top floor, would this work still apply?
Yes, it would. Because I don't think the design team, and Corey may need to speak to this, but I don't think they'd go through and redesign the entire structure. It's designed to hold that floor. And what I would recommend to the county as well is you keep that design so that in the future, you could add the 4th floor if you wanted to.
Yeah.
So we're just talking the structure, so the concrete foundation, and then the structural steel that goes up through the building.
If you can guarantee that, then I'm open to waiting until the 17th, and I will agree to this amendment. But I'll be candid, every time we have a meeting, there's always just something a little different. It always changes a little bit.
And it's going to in a construction project because you have estimates of fees and permits and all of that stuff.
Yeah, Commissioner Duncan, I really appreciate your comments. but in all fairness, this project has gone up by 75% in 19 months. Okay, so I understand that things change. In fact, if there's one person who really appreciates the fact that things change, it's me, because it's very hard sometimes to project things. And construction is challenging right now. But it's the degree of the change that concerns me. And that's what I want to try to avoid. We have to get a handle on these things.
Okay. So, back to the submittals. Structural steel, reinforced steel, and concrete formwork. Are you open to that? As opposed to
because,
the work?
well, I
product?
just heard that we could use this work, this change order, if we end up taking off the top floor. So I'm trusting that that information is correct, that it's accurate, and that if that is the case, then I'm fine with it.
So is that all of work package 2 or just those 3 items?
Just those 3 items.
Okay,
So we would like to release.
okay.
Yeah.
Would you like to make that motion?
I'll let you do that.
Okay.
You wrote
Bill?
everything down.
Right. Bill, have you any questions in this process? Bill? All right. I move that in lieu of work package 2, that we approve the submittals for the shop drawings on the structural steel, the reinforced steel, and the concrete formwork.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks? Bill, you out there? Commissioner Matari?
Aye.
Chair Duncan?
Aye. All right.
May I ask a question? I'm sorry, just
Yes.
since this involves ARPA funds, for the record, approving just these portions of work package 2, is that a financial impact? It sounded like Mr. Shelby had said that approving just those items was not a financial impact until we approve the whole work package, or did I misunderstand?
So my understanding is we are approving that work to go forward. So yes, we will be paying
Okay.
for something to go forward, but that will support whether it's a 3-floor building or a 4-floor building.
Okay, so at some point, if I could have RMO or Bouten tell me the dollar amount, because I need to track as we go along what dollar amounts are being used of ARPA.
Is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think for the record, or sorry, I shouldn't have said for the record.
It's fine. No.
I'm not used to being so formal.
Uh-huh.
So you said submittals and shop drawings, which isn't like all of the materials and the labor and everything. It's just to get the submittals, all the design going so that we can get our place in line for fabrication.
Did you need the product? Did you need the materials? No? You don't need the materials approved right now, or you do?
Well, the critical path is getting those submittals done, so all the shop drawings done. If we need to wait 2 weeks to get more certainty around the numbers, that's okay, as long as we have the submittals going. If
Okay.
we go any longer than that, we really need to have that approved.
And that's the way I understand it, was just to get in line.
Yes,
That the 17th is where we're going to have a much more in-depth conversation that has to do with meaningful money and direction.
and that's when we would need the work package number 2 GMP amendment executed.
Yes.
So, yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Item number 20. This is a budget financial item. It's purchase approval for loader tires, solid waste. JP?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. John Phillips for the record. The Solid Waste Department is requesting your approval to move forward with the purchase of 4 solid rubber tires for one of our waste handler loaders at the Prairie Transfer Station. These are necessary specialty tires that are used daily when loading garbage into trailers at the transfer station. The total price for these 4 tires, including shipping, was quoted at $30,747.91. The department did budget funds to cover these costs in this current fiscal year.
All right, questions, motion?
No questions. I move that we approve the purchase for loader tires for solid waste.
Second?
Bill Brooks. Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, motion passes. Thank you, JP. Item 21, board approval request. This is a request to roll over the FY 2023 project funds into FY 24 with our IT department. And Brandy, I will have a couple questions for you regarding this.
Thank you, Commissioners. Grant Kinsey, Network Administrator for the record. Mainly what's going on here is we have, at any given time, many projects going on in IT. And when those projects get created, we are asked by the auditor, what is the nature of the expenses that are going to be coming
Bill
from this
Brooks.
project? And sometimes those are massive capital expenditures. Sometimes those are not as high of dollar value. So they end up getting put into operating budget type line items. The fact remains it's still a project that's usually a multi-year project. And when it comes to the end of a fiscal year, the normal process is the only thing that's allowed to be rolled over is capital funds. And what we're confronted with right now are several projects that are still ongoing that we were advised that those dollars should be put into operating type codes. And we need those dollars rolled forward to next fiscal year to continue the projects, but we can't without board approval.
So Brandy, do we know of many other departments that may be coming before us?
So I've actually already explained this to a couple other departments.
Okay.
So, and I also talked with Dave Ferguson about this last year. Statute only allows rolling forward of capital construction projects. So anything that is not a capital construction project at year end gets returned to fund balance. And if the department wishes to continue whatever project that was, in the next fiscal year, they have to come to the board and ask for the use of fund balance to be put into their budget. And I usually tell people you say that in FY23, we return the money to fund balance. Now that we're in FY24, which this week is the first week of our new fiscal year, you ask the board to pull it back out of fund balance. So
Sure.
that's what's happening here. And other departments may come forward. It's their prerogative to do that. So, but that's what I mean, I've told Parks that, I've told the Sheriff's Office, so.
Okay.
And Commissioners, Brandy did tell me to say exactly that, and I did
Yeah.
a very poor job of saying it. So
No,
thank
no,
you,
no.
Brandy.
You're fine. I was mostly wanting to know about other departments because sometimes we've done it as a blanket thing. Okay, we're coming to before the board once. It's these departments, these amounts, let's go forward. So that is all I was doing reference to. And I don't, oh, I see the money now. Okay, it's the mobile data terminal project, scanner rollers, and on-base project. So,
Correct.
okay,
Motion?
yeah.
No questions. I move that we approve the request to roll over FY 2023 project funds into FY 2024 for information technology.
Second.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, motion passes. Item 22, board approval request. This is the approval of Regence interfacility ground ambulance claims, reprocessing, and CK with our HR.
CK Kirkpatrick in HR for the record. We have before you information from Regence recommending that it's appropriate to reprocess claims for out-of-network savings for $1,684.
So help me understand. I read through this stuff, but it wasn't super clear as far as in order to reprocess to save the employees money, it costs the county $1,600.
Right, because we're self-funded, it's the financial responsibility of the county. If we weren't to approve this, then what would happen is it would place a financial burden higher on our members because of the way that the balance billing is being done by the ambulance companies.
Yeah. So I'm looking about $4,600 is, yeah, would it be? Okay, I'm totally good with that. Questions?
No questions.
Okay. Motion?
I move that we approve the Regence Interfacility Ground Ambulance Claims Reprocessing with HR.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, item 23, approval of Aflac Group Master Application. And this is Aflac Continental American Insurance Company, and once again, CK.
This is to approve the group master application with Aflac for 3 different coverages: accident, critical illness, and hospital indemnity. Attached to the paperwork is the approval for accident and hospital indemnity. The critical illness was hopefully going to be added by Terry. I don't know if you've gotten it in your packet in the meantime. If not, we can bring that one back at the next meeting, but it didn't get attached in the original documentation.
Okay, so these are our agreements because we're kind of, it's our yearly agreement, or it's because we've changed in this going forward?
It's our yearly agreement, and we have changed to go with Aflac for those 3 voluntary coverages.
Okay. So questions?
No questions.
Okay, and then how does this relate to item 24? We're gonna,
So,
okay, I
yes.
see what we're doing. We're approving the going ahead, and then we're pulling back on what we had.
Exactly.
Perfect. Okay. Yes, motion, please.
I move that we approve the Aflac Group Master Application with Aflac Continental American Insurance Company and HR.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, motion passes. And item 24, the standard termination letter for accident, critical illness, and hospital indemnity benefits with the standard and HR again.
Yes, so this is to remove those 3 coverages: accident, critical illness, and hospital voluntary coverages from the standard. We will still be going with them for our county-paid life insurances, as well as a few voluntary options, but as you saw in the previous, that we are going with Aflac for those 3.
Questions, motion?
No questions. I move that we approve the standard termination letter for accident, critical illness, and hospital indemnity benefits with the standard and HR.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, motion passes. And item 25, board approval request. This is a corrected approval order for Pine Grove Academy, and with our assessor's office and our chief deputy, Ben Croninger.
Afternoon, Commissioners. Ben Croninger for the record. So number 25 and number 26 are related to the same AIN. And just a little bit of background information on AIN 174950. It is a commercial property in Post Falls. It's a fairly large commercial property, and it is leased out by multiple different entities, one of them being Pine Grove Academy and the other being North Idaho College. So before the approval order that was done on May 1st of this year, there was already an exemption that was approved for North Idaho College on the same AIN. And I believe we had it at around 26%. Yes, because that's how much NIC occupies. So when we had this approval order that was done for Pine Grove Academy, in addition to North Idaho College, the way that the approval order reads as it is, it just says that the Kootenai County Board of Commissioners did receive a request that tax exemption be granted to Pine Grove Academy. So when we received this, we just took that at face value, did 100% exemption for the entire property, and that would not be correct. So essentially, I'm coming back to you and requesting that we could have 2 separate things done. One for Pine Grove Academy, we request that you could exempt 21% of AIN 174950 for that entity, Pine Grove Academy, and then you would exempt 26% for NIC, once again on the same property. And like I said, it kind of gets a little confusing because it's on the same AIN and it's occupied by multiple entities. So, thank you.
Okay, questions?
No questions.
All right, Dave, how intricate would you like the motion?
Just enough so it's clear what exemption is being applied to which one.
Okay, well, you want to do two motions?
It's the same AIN, so,
Well,
I'm sorry, what did you want, Dave?
I think you can do it in the same motion as long
Yeah.
as it's clear.
So I guess we would say something to the effect of the AIN, and then Pine Grove Academy would be 21, and then NIC would be 26. Is that sufficient, Ben? Okay.
Okay, well,
Okay.
I move that we approve the request for the corrected approval order for Pine Grove to 21% and North Idaho College to 26%. And do you want the AINs for that too?
Yeah, for clarity in the record.
Okay, so for Pine Grove, 21%, AIN 174950.
It's the same one.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I know, it's the same property with different
Different
pieces.
names, so the same exact
Yeah.
AIN number for both.
Perfect. Second.
Bill Brooks? Did we lose you again, Bill?
Aye.
Commissioner Matari?
Aye.
Chair Duncan?
Aye. All right, motion carries. Thanks, Ben. Item 27, this is an airport work order, W023-007, COE Wildlife Management Plan and Training with TO Engineers or Ardura. And Kim, I heard you on the phone earlier.
Yes, Commissioners. Kim Stevenson for the record. This is an annual training that the airport goes through. We have to get a certified trainer to conduct this for the airport employees. That is done annually by Ardura, and that annual training this year is $3,100, and we request approval for that.
Kim, just by simple math, that's about $500 each for this training. Is that normally what we pay every year?
I did not look and see what we had paid previously, but I would imagine it's in the same realm. And there is, the PowerPoint presentation is attended by myself and Carrie, and then there's hands-on training as well, so.
Okay, for 6 people, 8 people?
The hands-on training should be for 6, possibly 7.
Okay.
Probably 6. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Questions?
No, it's annual, so it's part of the Part 139.
Yeah, it just seems like a lot of money per person to
yeah.
get this training.
Well, it does seem like that, I agree. Bill, do you have any questions?
No.
I move that we approve the airport work order W023-007 for COE Wildlife Management Plan and Training with TO Engineers.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks?
Aye.
Commissioner Matari?
Aye.
Chair Duncan?
Aye, motion passes. Item 28, Development and Ground Lease-NORTH AAL-2023-500 North Side Hangar Development, and this is North Idaho Hangar Group LLC and our airport. Ms. Stevenson again, please.
Kim Stevenson again for the record. This is a hangar on the north side. It's 96,268 square feet, or just about 2¼ acres. At the commercial rate, it provides an annual revenue of $25,415 to the airport.
All right, questions, motion?
No questions. I move that we approve the Development and Ground Lease-NORTH AAL-2023-500 North Side Hangar Development with the North Idaho Hangar Group LLC in the airport.
Second.
Bill Brooks?
Aye.
Commissioner Matari?
Aye.
Chair Duncan?
Aye. All right, item 29. This is a T-hanger lease, AAL-2023-650, and it's lease space number 2, and it's with NIDFG LLC and our airport, Ms. Stevenson.
Thank you. Kim Stevenson for the record. We have a T-hanger lease. It is one of the 4 spots in our county-owned T-hanger. Rent $350 a month for an annual revenue of $4,200.
All right, questions, motion?
No questions.
Okay.
I move that we approve the T-hanger lease AAL-2023-650 for lease space 2 with NIDFG LLC and the airport.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, motion passes. Thanks, Kim. Item
Thank
30.
you.
Board approval request. This is a request for annexation, and, oh boy, Dave, do you know that? Is it Meert?
I'm not sure how you say that.
All right, well, I apologize, the Meert family. And Kootenai County Fire and Rescue. So, Dave, you want to take this one?
Certainly, I reviewed this application packet for the Meert property for annexation, and it does meet all the qualifications. It was brought before the Fire District Board and published properly and approved by the board properly. So, and as well, the property is contiguous to property that lies, it's already annexed. So it would be appropriate to approve the annexation.
All right, questions, motion.
No, I move that the board approve the request for annexation with Meert and Kootenai County Fire and Rescue.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, motion approved, and we have pulled item 31, so we're to item 32, board approval request. This is the fiscal year 24 Summit Food Service and Commissary agreement with our Sheriff's Department for the jail. Captain Heil, please.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Commissioners. Captain Jeremy Howell for the record. This is our annual update for our Summit Food contract, which provides the meals for the inmates as well as their commissary funds. This was budgeted for in our budget. The numbers that they provided are coming in lower than our budget, so we're going to have a little bit of savings, and this is a 1-year extension.
Okay. Questions, motion?
No questions. I move that we approve the request for FY24 Summit Food Service and Commissary agreement with the Sheriff's Office.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, items 33 and 34 will also be pulled from today and addressed at a later meeting. Item 35, a board approval request, approved ballot order per Idaho Code 34902, November 7th, 2023, and this is the consolidated election. And our manager, Asa Gray, please.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Thank you. Before you today is our ballot order for the November 7th consolidated election. We have multiple different types of districts on this ballot. There will be several cities conducting either mayoral or city council elections or both. We have 2 fire districts that will appear on the ballot, Northern Lakes Fire District Commissioner Subdistrict 2 and Kootenai County Fire and Rescue Commissioner Subdistrict 4 will appear on the ballot in different areas of the county. And then we also have several school zones on the ballot along with 4 ballot questions. Obviously you know about the county open space bond question because you're the ones who chose to put it on the ballot. And then City of Harrison is running a local option non-property tax question. The Kellogg School District is running their supplemental levy this election that would take effect next summer. And then also, excuse me, Micah Kidd Island Fire is running a base budget question. So with that, we have calculated out our ballot order based on the different things on the ballot, based on historical turnout we've seen in areas. We have some areas that historically turn out very high, like Dalton Gardens turns out for their city, turns out for almost all elections in a very high fashion, whereas other areas of the county don't historically turn out as much, and especially if they don't have a lot on the ballot this time, we try to tailor that so that we can both provide adequate ballot coverage and not waste taxpayer resources on overprinting of ballots. So with that, I would ask for your approval of this ballot order.
All right, questions, motion?
No questions. I move that we approve the ballot order per Idaho Code 34-902 for November 7, 2023 consolidated election.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. Motion passes. And item 36, Resolution 2023-75, and this is to designate polling places pursuant to Idaho Code 34-302 for the November 7th, 2023 consolidated elections. Mr. Gray.
Thank you again, Commissioners. Before you is the proposed list of polling places for our November 7th consolidated election. There are 3 changes here from the most recent election, which was in May. One is a dual polling location for precincts 305 and 309. We were informed by the previous location that they would no longer be able to accommodate us as a polling place. And so in searching for a location that would be of size to accommodate both precincts in one space, Lakeland High School was willing to open up their facility to us, and so we will be getting some space in their library for those 2 precincts. And then precinct number 308 is normally at the Golden Spikes Community Recreation Center, which I will mention. I also understand that community has recently changed their name. But they are undergoing construction on their recreation center at this time. They anticipate allowing us back in as a polling place for next year's elections. But for this time, we are asking to move over to John Brown Elementary School, which we have used in the past as a polling location. So those are the only changes on here from our May election polling places. And if I may take this moment also to just briefly mention that this year for early voting at our office, which is October 23rd to November 3rd, we have added a fun little feature that we think voters will enjoy. As you may or may not know, or as you may or may not have an affinity for yourself, many voters love the I voted stickers they get when they come in to vote. This year, we have specifically created an I voted early sticker that features a scene of mountains, fish, different elements of our local area, including the lake, that we hope people will enjoy being able to get when they come in to vote early. And we also hope will be a draw for people who maybe don't have the time to stand in line on election day but want to vote in person, that they can come into our office and vote early, as our lines are typically very short for that. So I just wanted to put that in there.
Okay, I will be getting one of those stickers. I always vote early. I don't leave it till the last minute, so. All
We'll
right.
just have to see which one you get. The lake? Is it the lake?
Well, it's just one sticker.
okay.
It just
All
has
right.
all the different elements.
All right.
Okay, questions, motion?
I move that we designate the polling places pursuant to Idaho Code 34-302 for the November 7, 2023 consolidated elections.
Do we need
I
the,
second the motion.
do we need the resolution number in there, Dave? 2023-75.
It's part of the agenda, so I'm not reading.
Okay, perfect. Roll call.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye, all right, motion carries. Item 37, thanks, Asa. Resolution 2023-76, county deeds from tax auction and our treasurer's department.
Well, we are just down here to see if you have any questions in regards to the resolution that had to, I believe, take place in order for you to sign those county deeds for recording.
I do not have any questions. Bruce?
Nope.
All right, Bill, questions?
No questions.
All right.
I move that we approve Resolution 2023-76, county deeds from the tax auction with the BOCC.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye, motion carries, thank you. Item 38, board approval request, and this is for a tax deed bid, AIN 166952, and I don't have the bid with me. So I think that upstairs is probably listening. Sarah's gone. Jonathan, if you would let upstairs know that I don't actually have this envelope in my hand. So what we can do, though, is move on to item 39, which is our status update pending list, if the board agrees to move on right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right. Facilities expansion. We just got a little bit of an update today, and so we've got some homework to do. We're going to, we meaning me, is going to work further with auditor's office and get some how do I say it? Better numbers is not quite accurate, but it's an explanation deeper into the potential of how we fund all projects going forward. And facilities will, our facilities people will meet, I think, on Monday morning for.
And so I think some of the requests Bruce had made today at the 10 o'clock status update is that the auditor be included in some of these meetings or all the meetings.
Okay.
And so is it the working group, and then is it with the architect, or Bouten meets with RMO too?
So working group, we don't normally, it's lumped into facilities expansion, but working group does not, come on in, Terry. Working group does not usually address anything that is expansion related. What the working group does is once the expansion's filled, how do we go and backfill when people move? So yeah, I mean, auditor can totally send a representative down. I can put you on the master invite list, but mostly it's other stuff going forward.
Okay.
Once the expansion.
And then particularly just, how often are they having the meetings with Bouten and the architects, LCA and Corey?
Weekly, and actually, I'm sorry, Caitlin can speak to this, but I believe it's every Thursday morning.
Okay. We'd like to be part of that too, if that's possible.
Yeah, I don't see a problem with that at all.
And then with the jail pods, is that going to continue with the request for proposal with RMO? Is it going to go to the sheriff's office?
Well, the sheriff actually asked RMO to do the RFP for them. So I don't know where we'll go from here, except the fact that I would still like to have that conversation to get a path forward. I'm looking at our schedule for Friday morning. We do have a block of time, and if Commissioner Matari and Brooks are agreeable, then we can, right now it's set aside for interviews, but we won't have interviews that morning.
Oh.
We may not. So then we can have some of these discussions, but I definitely would like to, and RMO will have a chance to open up the RFPs, and then I'd like to have a chance to further delve into going the CG process, the construction manager process. So, okay, that's all for that. And impact fees, we have a meeting tomorrow.
We do. We have a meeting with the mayor, so I'm looking forward to that and talking with them about the wild and wonderful subject of impact fees and growth.
Okay. No update on prosecutor space needs, and the jail pods, we just received the bids, so that will be an ongoing conversation like I mentioned. And now to our latest item, these are ARPA projects, and our RMO will be kind of going down project by project and let us know where we're at.
Caitlin Smith for the record. What we've brought today is a summary of each project. As you know, for the Justice Building expansion, Work Pack 2 was presented and will be presented again in 2 weeks on the 17th. And design is on track to present Work Pack 3 with the timing we've previously sent out. I apologize. I'm not sure if it was the end of December or the beginning of January. But that's our current progress there. Work is currently being performed from the Work Pack 1 scope of work, and this will continue through October. The admin HVAC project, the RFQ has been published and responses are due November 7th. The design and engineering for this project must be completed by late 2024 at the very latest. The RFQ reflects this. A contractor then needs to be procured before December 31st of 2024. JDC HVAC upgrade, that contract was awarded earlier this year. Work is still underway still underway, but the current estimated date for the final walkthrough and inspection is later this week, October 5th. The jail generator, the RFP is being prepared. Like the admin HVAC, design and engineering must be completed by late '24 and a contractor procured before December 31st of '24. And that leads us to our subawards. We have 6 subawards to 5 subawardees, which were originally approved by the board. Of these, EMS has completed its ambulance project. It is paid and closed out. Its PPE reimbursement project has been executed. They've issued their request for reimbursement, and that reimbursement has been issued to them. The subaward to CD Aid for their care program is complete, paid, and closed out. The subaward to On-Site for Seniors for their operational expenses is complete, paid, and closed out. Wellspring Meadows, this subaward is ongoing, and we will be bringing revised subaward agreements to the BOCC for your approval to keep the project in conformance with changed Treasury rules associated with the premium pay eligibility category. Children's Village is also affected by that change in rules, and we are expecting a timeline by Friday for a new application from Children's Village to the board.
And then I think a question was asked to, if we don't get this agreement, is it something that the BOCC can change direction on, or do we need to wait until 2024 for them to get the information to us?
You do not. 2024 is the deadline for forming contracts funded through with ARPA. But the board has discretion on what contracts to form and when, so long as it is before December 31st of 2024.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
I'm graceful, we all know that. So when you said by this Friday the application, did you mean the application or do you mean an actual agreement?
I said a timeline for when we can expect their application to come forward.
So then you have to go through so we still might not have an award with them, an agreement with them?
Not this week.
Oh, well, just in general, okay, never mind then, we're good.
Okay, thank you. All right, so that's it for our projects. And so if you're okay, I would say that they could take all the projects that have been closed out off of their list, and they could just talk about ongoing projects every Tuesday.
Yeah, if they're closed out, I don't see the point in
Okay,
talking
thank you.
about them.
Just wanted to make sure because it's a complete list. So, all right. With that, let's go back to item 38. I now have the sealed bid, and this again is for tax deed bid AIN 166952. And the address, or I'm sorry, the name is Daniel Whitfield. And just and the bid is for $300. According to community development and other staff research into this, this is a sliver that cannot be built on, and therefore it should be only deeded to or sold to a contiguous property owner, and Mr. Whitfield is not a contiguous owner. So my recommendation along with community development would be that we not accept this sale and we return the funds. Questions, thoughts?
No, I agree with you. I think it would just really be a challenge for the other property owners as well as this new person, so I agree.
Okay. Bill, questions, thoughts?
No, I agree.
So,
Item 38, we're just
Yeah,
going to deny the sale.
okay, so I move that we deny the tax deed bid for AIN 166952 Woodfield and BOCC.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, motion passes. And public comment. Anybody in the audience? Anybody online? All right. Thank you, everyone. It was a long one, 3:06, meeting adjourned.